I'm with Dark Alchemy Limited, and I'm here today with John.
I'm John from John's Long Box.
And today we're talking about some of the best horror board games and some alternative horror board games that you might not be able to get anymore, but are available on the secondary market, such as eBay. The first game we're going to talk about is available. It's called Horrified. And I think this is a great family game because it basically
It's cooperative.
It's cooperative and it's horror light.
Right.
Right? It's not super complex.
It's Scooby-Doo horror.
Scooby-Doo horror, exactly.
So it's not going to scare your kids, but and it's cooperative, so mom and dad can play with the kids, and if your kids are young and your kids are old, they can be coached and helped. It's a perfect family game.
Okay, and basically, this one has the classic monsters, and you have to defeat them, and each classic monster has a different way to be defeated. For example, the classic vampire, like a Dracula, might have to stake through the heart. And there's a swamp monster, like the what's the name of the swamp monster? The creature.
Oh, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Just the creature.
Creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a different mechanic to defeat him.
And if you want to make it more complicated, you can put two monsters in. So you could fight Dracula and the werewolf.
Oh, that's awesome.
Defeat them both.
That's awesome.
So you can make the game as. So some of the monsters are easy and more simple, like the mummy. I think you have to collect curses, and then you have to be in a certain spot. So you can make the game as complicated or as simple as you want, which is perfect for families.
This game came out in 2019. They added American monsters, which I think are cryptids.
Yeah, cryptids. You got like the Mothman, you got like the Jersey Devil, and American urban legend stuff.
That was in 2021. 2023, Greek monsters.
Right. Greek mythology. You got the Medusa, you got Minotaur, Hydra, and things like that.
Yeah, in 2024 they added
World of Monsters.
World of Monsters,
which is like Cthulhu, Beyond the Void. It's
Yep. So it says here, Cthulhu, the Yeti, the Sphinx, and some other ones.
Oh, cool. So it's no secret that Dead of Winter is inspired by the Walking Dead. So if you like the Walking Dead TV show or the comics, I'm a big fan of the comics. This is the game for you. And Dead of Winter. So the premise is it's zombie apocalypse and it's winter time. So it's like you're fighting the environment as well as the zombies. But what it is each player is a colony. So if Roy and I were playing, I have my colony over here and he has his colony over here. So think of The Walking Dead where you have, the main characters, Rick Grimes' group, and then you have like the what are they called? The saviors over there.
Yes, correct.
So and then you get the board in the middle, which is the mall or the police station, and we're fighting for supplies. So the only thing scarier than meeting a zombie in this game is meeting Roy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're fighting in.
So they consider it a cooperative psychological thriller. It means you're working together, but each individual player has its own victory condition.
Correct. So and keep in mind, like I haven't played this version yet, so it's all on punch, but you get a million dice. But this is what I wanted to show. These are called the crossroad cards. Okay. So if it's Roy's turn, Roy picks a card and hands it to me. Roy doesn't know what's on the card, and I'm just sitting here waiting to see if he fulfills the conditions on the card. I interrupt him, and I give him a choice. Like, you find a car crash. Inside the car crash, there's a crying baby. Now, there's no adults. Does he take this baby and raise it? Does he ignore the baby? You know what I mean? So there's if you have a baby, now you have a non-productive worker in your colony. You have to feed and take care of this baby. Yeah. If you get rid of the baby, you know what I mean? Like, so you want to live with that choice.
There's some psychological and moral questions.
But there's also in-game benefits of getting rid of the baby, and there's also, it affects the way you play. It's called a crossroads, and some of them, like the baby, is grisly.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a tough question. Some of them are funny. Some of them are just easy, but like there's a guy who's just annoying and he's dressed up as a mall Santa and he's drunk all the time. You don't want him in your group. But if you do take him in the group, you're going to get points at the end of the game because the more difficulties you survive, the more points you get. But that one's always funny and everybody hates that one.
So this is a semi-cooperative game. Correct. In the sense that, with Horrified, all the players could win. We talked about Horrified. All the players could win. In Dead of Winter, all the players could win. Some of the players could win, or one of the players could win,
or nobody could win,
or they, in which case everybody's eaten by zombies or killed or die in the dead of winter.
One of the things that I love about this game, the tension immediately, is everybody draws at random a secret agenda.
Yeah,
my secret agenda is I hoard things. So I don't want to give up items, but you need to give up items to to create fires or to hunt or whatever like that. So there's at the end of every player goes, and then there's like a phase of the game where we have to contribute to the group. And sometimes you don't want to continue to the group. So right away, one of the agendas is you're a traitor.
Yeah.
So you're always being accused of being a traitor. One of the agendas is easy to figure out. You're a book hoarder. So you're just like, I'm going to the library.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of just like, well, that guy's not going to contribute, but he's not a traitor.
Yeah.
But that's also something that you want to do if you are the traitor. You go, I'm going to the library.
Yeah.
You know, so you're playing poker with everybody else. I tell you, man, if you play with the wrong people, you could really, really get angry.
Ruin some friendships.
Yeah, you can really. It's one of those things. You play with people that you're friends with, or people that you don't care if you ever see again.
So maybe this is not a must-have game.
This is more adult. This is
an adult version. So there are a few other games that come to mind that were kind of predecessors to this. So we have Battlestar Galactica, where one person is the true traitor.
I've never played that, but I've seen people practically flipping tables over because that's like a 12-hour game.
And then they had a reskin of it called Unfathomable,
which I played,
which is a great one. So in that case, one person is the cultist. The cultist is the traitor, and they're trying to go around this steamship to sabotage it to let all the Cthulhu monsters get on board. But
I think the first one was Shadows over Camelot, which is
Shadows over Camelot.
Yeah, I got it right over there.
Yeah, okay.
You're all the Arthurian knights, and one of you is the betrayer.
So we'll have to do a separate episode on betrayal games.
Right. Oh,
okay,
yeah. And then, of course, Betrayal on the House of the Hill. You know. But
yeah. Okay. So I brought that one. That's one of I did a bit of a poll on my different board game clubs and different people, and Betrayal on the House was one of the top ones.
Right.
People liked Eldritch Horror was one of the top ones. And there's a few different versions of that. Final Girl was one of the top ones. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So anyway, that is Dead of Winter.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This, a lot of fun. I really dig this. Hi, this is Fury of Dracula. This is a really cool, fun game, and it's one versus many, meaning one person plays Dracula.
Yeah.
And then everybody else plays Mina Harker and Van Helsing and all the other characters. So you're a team. So I'm Dracula. You guys are all teaming up to find and kill me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It is tense when you're Dracula because you're constantly being hunted.
Yeah.
But Dracula is overpowered. Now,
Dracula is a powerful character in literature and in the game, but being hunted, you feel being trapped.
Immediately you're trapped. But so Dracula has all these, like you have all these cards with powers, but you want to play them at the right time. You don't want to play your hand because first off, the game is divided up into like regions.
Yeah.
So you don't want to play this one because one of the rules is Van Helsing knows the rules. Yeah. So if you play the game, the way I play is Van Helsing is the only one who's allowed to look at the rule book.
Yeah.
Because he's smart. So he, you know what I mean? And Mina Harker's power is she could say, is he in the same zone as me?
Yeah.
So if you do a power and Mina Harker tracks, oh my God, it's tough. It's so much fun. But I like, whereas we were talking about cooperative games where everybody's on the same team, there's two teams and there's 4 players on one team and 1 player on one, and it's so good.
I feel like in this game, if you want to be Dracula, you have to know the rules. You have to know the rules, but you have to have a personality where you enjoy trying to outwit 3 to 4 other people, right?
The way I compare it to this is if you play Dungeons and Dragons, Dracula's the DM.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to have a little bit of ice water in your veins, but you also have to want to win.
Yeah.
Whereas the DM, I always feel in Dungeons and Dragons, the DM's job is to make it so that everybody has fun.
Correct.
So this is, you're having fun because you're trying to kill everybody else. And if you don't want to win, there's no tension for everybody else, and then it's no fun. So you got to be a little mean.
So I've played this a few times. I was thinking of an alternative rules version, which might be fun to do, where when you play, if you have 5 people, one person's Dracula the first week, and the other 4 people are the investigators. And each investigator's got to put $20 on the table, right? So Dracula wins.
I'm too cheap to play that.
Oh, come on. if Dracula wins, he takes all the money. And then next week, you're Dracula. And then I'm the investigator, right? So I put my 20 down. So you have a chance to win your money back.
Okay.
Right? So, but I think you can turn into a nice gambling version.
Oh, God. Talk about getting mean. Yeah. I feel a perfect follow-up to this game is Letters from Whitechapel, which I understand. I've seen people who refuse to play this game.
Why is that?
Because it's Jack the Ripper.
And they don't like the whole Jack the
Right.
Ripper
So,
storyline and
well, not only
actual
that,
murders
right.
based on
So
real
Jack the
news.
Ripper, you actually have pieces that represents the women that he killed, and you move them about, and then they get killed, and then the players are the police. So you're Jack the Ripper. You're just a normal human. What you're trying to do is escape the police. So it's 5 nights, one for each murder. Oh, and I tell you, man, if you're Jack the Ripper, you are sweating bullets. And the one thing that could ruin this game is, you see, it comes with the map of the game on the back, but then Jack the Ripper has a little screen. I might as well show you. Jack the Ripper has a little screen, and if you mess up, so Jack the Ripper's screen has the same board on the back, and you have a little pad over here, and you're writing down every day where you move. You're writing down. If you mess up, you messed up the whole game. So you really, really need to. You really need to be accurate. You can't make a mistake if you're Jack the Ripper. You could ruin the game. But like I said, people don't want to. Sometimes people get upset. This board is a miniature representation of the big board. And this is, if you're Jack the Ripper, you use this, and you can see this is from a game. So every turn you have to mark the space.
Oh, Jesus!
So this is the screen that if you're Jack the Ripper, here's your miniature for Jack the Ripper. You have to be accurate. So like this was, I forget who played this, but you literally write down the spots on the board that you move to. So here's Jack the Ripper on the big board. You move here, and these are the investigators chasing you around. So if you write down the wrong thing, you're going to mess up the board. Now, this is the problem that people, and I understand it. I'm not a heartless person, but these represent the women that Jack the Ripper killed. So you put them on the board, and you mark them with a red check to show blood. So yes, we're talking about a gruesome subject. So don't play this game if that kind of stuff bothers you. And what you are is you're the cops, you're the good guys, and one of the players, instead of being Dracula like Fury or Jack, you're Jack the Ripper, and you need to just hide. So one of these spots is your home, and if you make it to home, that night ends, and then we do the following it. So there's 5 rounds, and you need to catch Jack the Ripper before he makes it home on the end of the 5th round, and then he goes home free, or you catch him and you're the hero. And oh my God, talk about tension. But the problem with this game is I played it with one of my friends, and his wife was bored silly because this is what you do on your turn. I go here. Did I find anything?
Oh, wow.
Yes or no? No. She just wasn't into that. But this is the most pure deduction game possible. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, but
so I mean, at what point, all these games are based in fantasy. At what point do you say,
well, this is based on real.
Well,
real Jack the
no,
Ripper.
I understand. I'm saying most of the games are based on fantasy. But at what point do you have a game where it's based on real murders? Is that acceptable? We go back 100 years, 200 years. We have World War II games, which are horrible. People, got killed in the war on both sides. And, there's machine guns, and there's Normandy invasion where people are dying.
Right.
And then you have a total fantasy game, like a Dungeons and Dragons type of game or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where it's turtles fighting mutated rats and stuff.
Right.
And you're like, well, that's okay. This is actually based on real people.
This is based on real people, and you are playing the cops, trying to so you are the heroes.
You are the good guys.
I will say this: I played with my 11-year-old niece, and she was a cop, and she's like, Uncle John, I want to be Jack the Ripper. So I was like, all right. You know what my 11-year-old did? She followed the cops. So everywhere the cops went, she was behind the cops.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She was ingenious, huh?
Yeah. She got away. She was the only, I played this game 6 times. Jack the Ripper always gets caught. I always get caught. My niece is the only one who's ever gotten away. 11-year-old. It's
a pro tip. Follow the cops. Return to the scene of the crime after they leave, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't own it. I've never played it. I would like to give it a try. I don't know if it's something I would collect, but you have it, so it's good you have it in your collection and we can play it. Our next game up is Camp Grizzly, a 1979 kind of camping game along the lines of Friday the 13th.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool.
The game is set 1979, so it's actually 5 years old, but they make it look old. So it's Friday the 13th, but hokey. So and then what I like about it is there's different endings, so you could pick different endings. You could play. instead of Jason, you have Otis is the main bad guy, and Otis goes around chasing all the camp counselors. So you got little cards of like NPCs,
Okay.
the sexy girl or whatever. As you can see, apparently Ameritrash Games kickstarted this. They got a bunch of funding, and then something happened, and I was one of the few people that actually got it. So I get offers on Board Game Geek for like hundreds of dollars to buy this game.
So we can't get this game anymore. We don't think, right?
You can,
You turn
but
it the other way towards me.
you're going to pay a lot of money. So and it's goofy, and there's expansions that can make it R-rated. Like there's cards that like you're playing Truth or Dare with the camp counselor girls, and then the more sexy it gets, the more it attracts Otis. It's goofy and it's fun, and if you're a fan of 80s slasher films, tongue in cheek, it's kind of hokey, but like you see how there's different.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at it. So we have the bunny cabin, the dining hall, kitchen, swimming area, game room, stables, all the places you find the little cub cavern,
Right.
the bunk cavern, the commons, the beaver cavern,
Right.
Morris's office. So we have a map of a camp, and then I guess there's finale arrows, so you can escape to a boat,
Correct.
or escape to a barn, or you have to get to the van.
So what you do is you find items, and when you find different items, you could pick the finale. So you're kind of guiding the game towards the ending that you want. So you could go to the van if you find the keys, the gas, and the car battery, and then you flip that. And
let me interrupt right there. So I guess I don't know how many board games there have been. I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you. I don't know how many board games there have been like Camp Grizzly, but they have a video game with exactly the same premise, right? Where you have to find the keys, the gas, and the battery, and get to the van to escape. And on the video game, one person plays the killer, and 4 people play the people trying to escape. And there's different scenarios for that.
Right. Well, this would the game itself plays the killer.
Yeah.
So we're all trying.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
it's
it's
cooperative,
it's
but
cooperative, and we're all trying to flee together. But if we find the keys, the jack, and the rope, we could go to the boat instead.
okay. So let me ask you a question. The keys are the keys, right? So
Right.
they work for the boat or the van,
Correct.
or the ranger tower that has keys also. Yep, of course.
Right. If we find the keys, the jack and the battery, we could go to the ranger tower and then call for help.
And how does the mechanic work where Otis goes around the board, since nobody's actually playing Otis?
Otis is he stalks, so he's going to move one space towards the closest person, and then he does one die. He rolls a 1 die 4, and you're going to have you roll, see how much damage. If he hits on I forget. I think there's a number that he hits depending upon the body count. So the more he kills, the more damage and attacks and stalk he does. Yeah. So if he killed 6 people, his stalking goes up by 1.
Wow.
His attack goes up by 1. His damage goes up by 1. So he just gets more and more powerful the more he kills.
Why is there a horrifying picture of a bear face on the back?
Because that's Otis wears a bear mask.
Oh, of course he does.
Yeah. So instead of a hockey mask by Jason, he wears a bear mask.
Of course he does. Yep.
And then we're gonna make different. You see that's Otis with the bear mask right over there.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yep.
And he wears like a rake to like a bear scratch.
That's how he's killing people. Okay.
So but it's hokey. If you want to play a serious game, this is not the game.
Yeah, it's too bad.
It's tongue in cheek.
It's too bad we can't get this one, right? This was limited, and they don't make it anymore.
I even got the pewter figures to paint.
Oh wow!
But the thing is that there was like 10 expansions. Only 6 of them were released.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know. I guess making a board game and running a business are different skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. So next up is Eldritch Horror, but I want to talk about Arkham Horror First Edition. It's a game I have. It was before Fantasy Flight Games, and this one you're fighting different outer gods from Cthulhu, the old ones. You fight different characters. They had a second edition, and then they came out with a third edition. They turned into a card game. But right in front of us, we have Eldritch Horror, which is very similar, or an expansion for Arkham.
Well, yeah, like you said, first they did Arkham Horror, which was a board game. Then Fantasy Flight brought it over and just put great artwork on it. I always thought it was a good base game, but the Fantasy Flight version is probably my favorite board game. It's something Jimmy and I play that every New Year's Eve. We go to
Oh,
Jim's
really?
house and we play Arkham Horror.
Well, hopefully I can get in on this
Yeah,
this year.
come on in. Yeah, come on in. More the merrier. And it's a cooperative game, so it's everybody teams up. You're the investigators. Gates are opening up throughout the city of Arkham. You're jumping in the gates, solving. I remember when I heard about this game. You're on the main board. You jump into the gate, and then you go to a sideboard, and you do a couple of quests, and then you come out. That blew my mind.
I think the sideboard was probably the Dreamlands.
Yeah, the Dreamlands, the Abyss, the
Abyss,
Urlay, all the different
the plains of Lang, all the H.P. Lovecraft works.
Yeah. So we forgot to mention that it's based in the works of H.P. Lovecraft and August Derleth and all the guys who used Lovecraft. It's one of my favorite games. Just good, but it's complicated. It's fiddly. It's complicated for the sake of complicated. I love that. It's a 6-hour complicated board game that is really dripping with theme. I love that.
Do you think that they changed it into a card game to take some of the complexity away?
Yes.
Because people found the pieces too fiddly. It takes a certain audience to like those fiddly pieces.
Well, I think for two reasons. They expanded the game. They added everything. And there was nothing more that they could have added to the second edition game that made sense. Yeah. But they still wanted to sell the game.
Yeah.
So you got to do a third edition. And what the third edition is, there's an Arkham Horror card game, which is not. There's Arkham Horror third edition, which is a tiles.
Yeah.
And it's like a hybrid of a card game and a tile game.
Okay.
Then there's Arkham Horror the card game, which seems to be super popular, and all you got to do is release an expansion set of cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is. I've never played that. I'm still happy with the second edition. I downloaded. Yeah. Sheets from the internet and made little books for it. I go nuts with stuff.
I have friends who play the card game and they make the decks. And I went to Gen Con 24 and we almost went to it. We ended up not participating in this event, but it was a card game event. And you have to have your Arkham deck kind of made up and you sit down and play. But let's go to Eldritch Horror.
Right, so I was getting to this. So now people started to complain that Arkham Horror was too complicated.
Okay.
Which it is. But I love that. So they made Eldritch Horror, which is supposed to be a streamlined Arkham Horror.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, so
okay.
But it's not. It's a total lie. It's just as complicated.
Really?
Over there, I got 4 boxes of Eldritch Horror. Now Arkham Horror is you're in the town of Arkham, the fictional town in Lovecraft.
Correct.
Eldritch Horror spans the world. So you're going from New York, San Francisco, to London, to Shanghai, to deepest Africa, to the North Pole. But the thing is, they added so many expansions. It's just as complicated. But the thing about this, Arkham Horror is the story kind of makes no sense, but it does make sense in a bizarre sort of way.
Well, in Arkham Horror, you have to stop one of the elder gods, Cthulhu.
Right. But Gates, if you're fighting Cthulhu in theme-wise, if you pay attention, it's supposed to be Urlay. But you could go to Lang, which has nothing to do with Cthulhu. You could go to Arkham. The thing about this is we're going to play Cthulhu. There's cards, and the story is a concise story all about Cthulhu. So like the Yog-Sothoth stuff will never show up. The Yog-Sothoth monsters will never show up. So if you're really into Cthulhu, this is like a more like focused game.
Yeah.
But don't buy into the lie. It's not streamlined. It's not less fiddly. It's just as fiddly. It's just as complicated. And with all the expansions, it's just as long. Yeah. But the story is more focused. So but this is global. Arkham Horror is local. And then I'll even say Elder Sign is you're in one building. So I always put them as the 3 games.
Yeah.
A building, town, world.
Yeah. So for collectors out there, everybody loves to collect Arkham Horror, whether it's the second or third edition or the card game. Eldritch Horror is also highly collectible, but these are bigger games. So if you like the fiddly stuff and you like sitting down for 5 or 6 hours and playing, almost like a real adventure, it's very immersive.
Yeah.
Then this is the game for you.
This seems to be more popular with like the more casual players. I like Arkham Horror because I like the complications. Yeah. This is, like I said, a little bit more focused, so that people seem to like that. Yeah. The thing about Arkham Horror is you get a board with the world on it, and then you could buy up to like 4 or 5 boards. You could have the Mountains of Madness expansion, the Africa expansion. You literally could, if you wanted to, play with 5 boards all over the table. And Like again, I love that stuff.
You like putting all the
Yeah.
toys
Well,
out.
Roy's been to my house for a 10-hour game of Twilight Imperium. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I'll
So-
have friends over on a Friday night, like we'll play it. It's midnight. So you want to start up another game?
So not one of the quicker games.
No.
All right. Let's move on to another game. I think we're going to do Mysterium.
Okay.
And the reason we're going to talk about Mysterium, it is a game you almost run like Dungeons and Dragons adventure with a little clue mixed in. I think this is a good game for newer players to board games. It's not overly complicated. So in a role-playing game, you'll have a dungeon master and you have players. In Mysterium, you'll have one person running the game, and he has all the secret knowledge. And the other people are now doing a seance and trying to figure out who the ghosts are.
Right. This is almost, it's a social deduction game, but with more of a rules.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a, why can't I think of it? Werewolf, which to me, werewolf just devolves into people shouting. But this is a social deduction game with more structured rules to it. So I like it more than werewolf, but I'm not a social deduction person. So this is not one of my, I played this a few times, but it's not my choice of game. But this is wildly popular. I'm in the minority. People love this game.
Yeah.
My sister, who's not a board game person, has friends who are not board game, but they love Mysterium and they'll play.
I think ghost hunting, paranormal investigation is becoming more and more popular on TV, and there's actually conventions, seances, and mediums and psychics, and this gives you a little immersion into that world of trying to
if I remember correctly, like if you're running the game, you're the ghost and we're all mediums, so like the ghost can't directly say yes or no. You have
the ghost can't talk, and you have to, there's other ways to give clues, and you have a bunch of cards,
so it's open to interpretation. It like I said, it's a social deduction logic game that is wildly popular. But I like 12-hour twiddly fiddly complicated.
I guess I didn't punch this game either because
I love this insert.
I played it a few times.
All the game pieces are wonderfully crafted. The little crystal balls. Yeah. Again, this is a super popular game.
Yeah.
That's not that complicated. You've played this before?
I played it a bunch of times, but I bought it and I never opened it myself. So this is the Ghost Keepers board, and what is going to happen here is you have these little slots where you can have the hidden information, and then the people will be doing their seance, and they'll have a chance to try to guess. But again, you can't speak, so that's what makes this game really interesting as opposed to like other role playing games. And it's a good family game, especially around the October holidays or really any time of the year.
That's one of my. If a game tells me to close my eyes or I can't speak, I don't want to play the game. This is a game I play once a year, as close to Halloween as possible. It's a very light game. It's almost a children's game, but it's just so charming. It's based on the Terry Pratchett, as you can see.
The Discworld series.
Yeah. So apparently, there's within the Discworld, there's another series called The Witches, and it. First off, the art is so good. This is one of my favorite boards in a board game. I just love this. It's got that Terry Pratchett, almost Monty Python British humor, and I love the board. So what it is, it's like Harry Potter. I mean, there's 4 witches. One's the evil witch, one's the goofy witch, one is the serious witch like Harry Potter, and one is like the fat Neville Longbottom witch. And you're going around, you're curing pigs that are sick. There's women that are pregnant, and you're helping them give birth, and you're just doing good deeds. You don't want to use magic. I've never read the Witch's book by Terry Pratchett, but the more magic you use, you get these things called cackle counters, and they give you negative points. And if you get too many negative points, you actually get a permanent like evil counter, and you're becoming like an evil. So you want to solve everything with what they call headology, which drives me nuts. But it's basically logic and medicine.
Well, Terry Pratchett was very
fun with words,
and creating new words and stuff like that.
But at the same time, there's some challenges. Like you put tiles on the board. There's these tiles on the board, and every turn you flip over a tile, and depending upon how many players, that's how many tiles. Yeah. And when you go to pull a tile and there's no more left, the game ends.
Okay.
And then so the green tiles are easy. The purple tiles are very tough to the point, and you put them face down, so you don't know what you're encountering until you encounter it. And some of them are like Baltimore type characters. There's 3 elves, there's 3 vampires, and then there's just like a Wicker Man.
Okay.
The I forget what she's called, but she's the woman that runs the town, old granny or something like that. And you don't want to encounter them. And if there's 3 of those types on the board at any time, you lose the game. So this game, Roy could win, I could win, or the game could win.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know. I just find this art charming. The theme, it's like weird to say, but it's kind of like a relaxing game because it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's the threat of extreme difficulty, but you can navigate it. You know, but I really enjoy it.
Bonus points if you like Terry Pratchett's work.
Correct.
Bonus points if you love Discworld and all the fun he has along the way with his words and his ideas in that world. And it seems like he has a few different maybe a few different monsters that you normally don't like come across, like you said, right?
Yeah, there's vampires, there's elves, and the art is phenomenal. The cards are phenomenal. Like they're really clever because each card could do 5 different things, and that's the biggest choice in the game is, do I give up this card to do this? You know, so it's a lot of fun. And then of course I sent away to France for the miniatures instead of pawns because I'm a lunatic that way.
Yeah, I mean, just having some of these cards. I mean, you know, you have a frying pan, and there's a granny, weather wax, and there's a different witch.
So the big thing about this game is first off, these cards are gorgeous, and second thing, each card has multiple uses. Like if you discard a card with the broom, you could fly anywhere on the board. If you use it for this text, then you have this text. But it says power of 3. If you have 3 power of 3 cards, then like here is 2 power of 3. So here, if I have 3 power of 3, I could defeat anything. You know,
Nice.
but they're also flying cards, and they also have flip 1 hard problem face up. You know, so do I want to give up because there's not a lot of these power of 3 cards? So you hold on. Like this card, this is 2 magic points up here. So this will modify your dice roll by 2. But it also gives you 2 cards. So what do I want to give the card up for? It's just, you know what I mean? I love that. Multiple use cards is one of my favorite things.
Can you still get this game?
Yes, you can still get this game. I think since Terry Pratchett died, the game, like they reprinted it. It's by Mayfire Games. Oh, and it's by Martin Wallace, who's one of my favorite designers. Martin Wallace designed Study in Emerald, which is probably my second favorite game of all time. He also did Wildland. I love Martin Wallace games.
Awesome. So yeah, this one, I'm a big Terry Pratchett fan. This might be one I have to pick up for my collection. Not as big as John's collection here, but it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay, in front of us we have the Bloody Inn. John, the box is a little bit small. Is it even a game?
Yeah, it's okay. First off, the art is really, I don't know, bizarre, but I really like it. So the theme of this game puts a lot of people off, but again, I kind of say it's like Monty Python horror.
Okay.
So what it is you run an inn in France during like the Victorian Edwardian times. I don't know exactly when, and you start to realize that you make more money if you murder your guests, hide the bodies, and steal everything in their pockets.
Oh my God.
So you're trying to get richer people to come into your game.
Okay.
So you win the game when you make it to 40 francs in the bank, I think it is.
Okay.
Or no, you win the game when you have the most money at the end of the game. And then there's the Carnies expansion, which I think really makes it so much better. But this is the board. This is the whole board. And you put the cards over here. It's mostly a card game. And you these are the rooms, and you lay the cards out on the rooms. 1 room plus 1 room for every player. So if Roy and I were playing, we'd use 3 rooms. This is the discard pile. But the thing is, when you kill people, it's a process. So you
just like real life.
Yeah, it's more difficult. So you have cards in your hand. Those are your accomplices. You play 2 people or 3 people, whatever you need to kill this person. But now there's a body. Now you need a place to get rid of that body.
Okay.
So if you don't get rid of that body, and then the next round you get more guests. If the next round a cop comes to stay in, you're caught.
Where does the body go? It doesn't go in the rooms?
Oh, you play your cards over here
in front of you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so this guy may be a carpenter, so maybe you don't want to kill him. You bribe him to join you, and what he does is he'll build you a shed that you could put the body under the shed.
I was going to say coffins,
and
but
this guy's a
shed.
cop, so you bribe him to chase away other cops from investigating you. So
but then you're spending money,
right?
So
that's what
taken
if
away.
I kill this guy, is it worth it? Because now I got to bribe this guy or bury the body over here, and you're also building annexes. And when you build an annex, you're adding onto the hotel by the card.
Okay,
and you put the body under the annex. Nobody's ever going to look.
How long does this take to play? Seems like a quicker one?
About an hour.
About an hour.
Yeah. I recommend that you play with the Carney expansion.
What does the Carney expansion bring to it besides Carney's?
Just like more abilities.
More
like
abilities.
This is fun, but this just makes it like over the top weird. You just do extra bizarre stuff. I really like it. It's but again, some people like, I'm not playing that. I don't want to kill people. You're not killing people. You're playing a card game.
Well, once again, this is all Halloween, horror-based games, and horror games aren't for everybody. But if they're for you, then maybe consider the Bloody Inn,
right,
with the Carney's expansion.
And I picture it like Monty Python humor,
made in Germany, so you know it's quality.
Yeah, well, the cards are great, the art is great, and again, this is the whole board. There's timing things, so you just have to make sure that you get the rules right, because this triggers at this time, and that that'll cause a little bit of an argument.
Check out the Bloody Inn. All right, so we're putting these two games together because they're both social deduction games. One's by Flying Frog, one's by Mayfair, right?
Yeah.
And they are reskins of another game.
Yeah, they're not social deduction games. They're basically Arkham Horror with different themes on them. So this is Touch of Evil. This is there's a big monster, a werewolf, a vampire, or whatever.
Classic monsters.
Classic monsters, and you're colonial Americans, and you're going through this town, and you're fighting the evil. This is by Flying Frog Games. You either love Flying Frog Games or you hate Flying Frog Games. I love Flying. I can't even say it.
Flying Frog Games.
It's great miniatures, but the thing is, they use photographs of their employees in costumes.
Oh my God, that's great!
So all the so if you go to a convention, you will see these guys in costume playing their characters.
Now I want to go to a convention and track them down.
They
have a sign in the box.
Yeah, they have a game like Conquest. It's Martians Attack. They have another game, Fortune and Glory, which is the Indiana Jones game, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
But nowadays they're mostly known for Shadows over Brimstone, which is like a cowboys versus aliens miniatures game, and it seems like that's what the company's focusing on. But they used to make games like this. They have a superhero game. They have a Mars Attack game.
Okay.
So, but this is tongue-in-cheek horror. It's they have a rule that you're not allowed. You're all on the same team, but you're not allowed to cooperate. Everybody ignores that rule. Everybody, like, what did you get? You know what I mean? We're all on the same. And then this is basically the same game by Mayfair Games.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit more serious, a little bit more. It's the same thing like Pilgrims finding a witch, and but the witch really is evil. Less like the board and the cards are better, because like they have real art. It's not photographed.
Better quality art. I'm just looking at the back of the box. Let's do a quick video of the back.
But there's it's wooden tokens and pawns instead of miniatures. So
really?
Yeah. So
so
Mayfair Games isn't known for its quality components.
Yeah. So the artwork's nice, but it looks like they have some just kind of some basic components.
But Flying Frog.
So I'm going to do Witches of Salem. So Witches of Salem by Mayfair Games. Has some nice artwork, but a basic board. This one plays in about 60 minutes. A Touch of Evil by Flying Frog Games plays about 60 to 120 minutes. And
great miniatures. I love the board, but the cards are photographs of employees and friends of employees, in costumes. So that bothers some people. I love it. There's a little problem with Flying Frog Games in that they don't even take their own rules seriously. So if you're a hardcore serious gamer, you avoid these games.
I guess like Steve Jackson type of games also.
Yeah.
The Munchkin games are less serious, so
right. Like,
but they're games.
Like if you play I guarantee if you play any Flying Frog game, you're going to be like, the rules doesn't really cover this situation. And then you go,
Is there an FAQ?
This just makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I
Is
mean?
there
And
an
then everybody
FAQ
goes,
online?
okay. But if you get that one guy who's just like, don't play with that guy. But
yeah, if you have a rules lawyer,
Yeah.
maybe that's not the best person to play with.
yeah, but Winston-Salem Mayfair is more of a proper game company. Like I'm looking over there last night on Earth. It's a zombie game, and the cards all have their employees and makeup, and you know what I mean. It's just fun. I love Flying Frog game. It's all theme, and it comes with a CD with mood music.
Nice, that's awesome. If anybody has a CD player left, right?
I
It's
know,
an
I
older
know.
Game.
I know.
Speaking of Zombicide, we're sitting at the table. We have these games in front of us. I did a quick video, which I'll probably cut in right now, of the Zombicide. Zombicide is great. There are a ton of miniatures. Everybody seems to love it. It's a good cooperative game in place of like a Dungeons and Dragons type adventure. You're all working together. You're using weapons. You're finding supplies. But they have so many expansions now, right?
They have so many expansions and they have so many versions. So the base Zombicide is like Day of the Dead. You're in the mall. It's modern day. You find guns, and they expanded that, and then they made a second edition. The main problem with Zombicide is if you fire a gun into a group of zombies, you automatically hit your friend. Everybody hates that rule.
That seems silly.
So everybody house rules that if you miss the zombie, you hit your friend. The second edition, that's basically they made better zombies, like better miniatures in the fact of better quality, and then they changed that rule because even Simon realized it was a bad rule. It just ruined the fun for everybody.
Yeah.
But they made modern day.
Yep.
Then they followed it up with Zombicide Black Plague, which is, they say it's medieval, but there's not really wizards and there's not really, so it's fantasy.
Well, it's medieval Renaissance. Like, you have knights and clerics, not clerics, knights and priests, but there was no real spellcasters.
Right.
It's real historical. There's no spellcasters, are there?
This spellcasters. This is
so it's not historical.
You could cast fireballs. You could cast lightning bolts.
Okay, that's
so
great.
It's fantasy zombie, and that is so much fun. And then they made an expansion called the Green Horde, where orcs also attack.
Yeah.
So you got zombies, and then every turn you're building up a sideboard, and you're just putting more orc miniatures.
Are the orc zombies?
Some of them are. So there's orc zombies. There's orc abominations.
Oh my god.
Then there's werewolf orcs, and then there's archer.
Have you ever beaten that one?
I played the base a few times, but you could, and it also comes with catapults and trebuchets.
Oh wow!
People 3D print it. You could go nuts with zombies. That's why I love Zombicide.
Yeah.
Then they followed that up with Invader, which is sci-fi. Now that one kind of because they're not really zombies; they're aliens.
Aliens, yeah.
So, but it's Zombicide, and you could go to a moon, and you need to like have a spacesuit and a helmet in your. Otherwise, it's so much.
Zombies in space sounds pretty horrifying. Trying to escape to the rocket ship, where your suit gets torn, or you're infected and you're stuck in an airlock. And where do you go?
Right, and that you could use the environment against the aliens. You could put them in an airlock and crush them.
Nice.
And then you have like laser guns that you could focus fire. Like one of the rules in Zombicide is if the abomination has a 3 defense and your weapon only does 1, it's not like you hit them 3 times. You have to do 3 in 1 hit. Yeah. So you cannot kill that abomination. It is the scariest thing in the world when you play the game and an abomination.
When you're shooting an abomination and nothing's happening.
Oh my god,
that would be scary in real life too.
You're just spending trying to move away from the abomination, looking for a weapon that could kill the abomination. But in Zombicide, you could have, like, if you have a machine gun and you have 3 actions, you could focus fire and do 1 action and hit and take out so modern technology compensates for that. But then again, it's not that easy because then they have different aliens that hide, different aliens that you can't see. Oh, it's so much fun. So much fun. I can't decide which one I like best.
So let's take a step back. Zombicide, for the casual player, Zombicide box, 2nd edition, base game.
Right.
That's enough.
That's enough.
You can play it if you're a casual gamer.
Oh, and I forgot this Western Zombicide.
Oh, they had a Western. So casual gamer, though, they can play the 2nd edition. It's a great game. You can buy a few expansions. I noticed you had the Ghostbusters expansion.
Yeah.
You can buy different characters. I think that guy Machete has his own little expansion.
Oh, they have so many.
So you can collect those.
They are, but they are not. Like there's a tongue-in-cheek.
Yes, there's definitely a tongue-in-cheek aspect of it. That being said, I was playing one time Zombicide with a bunch of friends at a local game store, And the guy said, "Oh, you want to play Zombicide? I'll bring it." Okay, so we sat down at the table, and he goes and brings a box in, and it was one of those black totes. And he goes to the car, and he comes back with a second one, and he goes back out. I said, "What are you doing?" So he brought 6 totes.
Yep.
Because he had all the expansions, and he wanted us to be able to play whatever we wanted, like to pick any characters. And there's, dozens of different characters you could be. You could be an old Western character, you could be a knight, you could be a basic one, you could be a Ghostbuster, you could be Machete, or you could be all those different characters.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You could be a Ninja Turtle in Zombicide?
Yeah, I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle expansion.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
You could be the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the Ghostbusters.
I got a box over there I didn't even open up yet. It's Monty Python expansion. Literally, it's the guys from Camelot.
Yeah, if you want to go all in on Zombicide, I mean that's a great one. But
it's a fun game. It's a great game.
Maybe just a basic box if you want to add it to your collection before you go crazy with all these different boxes.
And also beware, if you do get the Zombicide bug, some of these rare stuff go for pretty pennies. So you could be on eBay spending a fortune.
Oh, so some of the stuff is already out of print.
Just so you know, CMON usually does a Kickstarter model.
Yeah.
So they used to be on Kickstarter. Now I think they're on GameFound, and you pledge. And it's like $200, which sounds like a lot, but I'm not joking. You'll get a stack of boxes taller than me of everything. And then 6 months later, everything's on eBay for $100 a piece. So you could spend thousands to make a complete Zombicide. But you don't need a complete Zombicide. Like Roy said, you can get the base box and never finish it because it comes with tiles.
Yeah.
And I think the base box is like 24 different scenarios.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And each one takes an hour or two.
An hour or two. What do you?
Yeah.
How do you play? Would you die right away?
I'm saying with the scenario.
Yeah, no, I'm joking, but it's like an hour to 3 hours depending on how you play. But I will say this: don't split the party. Don't split the party.
That's a rule.
I say that at the beginning of every game. Don't split the party. And somebody wants to be the hero because in most of the Zombicide scenarios, if one player dies, the game's over.
Yeah.
I played one scenario where just one. As long as one person escapes, then you win. Yeah. But man, Chris, I'm talking to you, Chris. Don't split the party.
All right, we're about to talk about my father's work. I just want to do an honorable mention to Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein. That game, you basically are a doctor or a mad scientist who is creating an abomination, a Frankenstein's monster, and you go around collecting blood and bones and body parts and fresh corpses and old corpses, and you have like this little map where you, in front of you, a little player in front of you, where you actually put the pieces together, and then you have to electrically charge them and fire them up to win. And it's one of the great games for Halloween. I think it plays really well, and I highly recommend it. But we're going to talk about...
I wanted to say with that game, with my father's work, that's another one of those games that the theme kind of gets people mad because you could
Abomination.
Decide... Yeah, you could hire grave robbers, or the easy route is you could go out and kill people.
You can murder people in Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein.
Right, so some people are like, I don't want to play that game. It's a board game. I don't,
It is like the 1800s, and the technology is the Frankenstein monsters technology. So you have to suspend some belief, right? Yeah. But you don't have to go that route too. You can go the medical route and just do other stuff. But now this is similar. It's kind of
this is my father's work. What it is just like Deep Impact and what's the other movie they came out? Armageddon came out at the same time. I think the same thing happens with board games. There's a lot of like the same theme comes out at the same time.
Why is that? Do you think?
I think.
Do you think there's chatter back and forth?
I think there's chatter back and forth.
Or do you think this spontaneously comes from the ether?
I could talk hours about comic book ideas that I had that just came out at the same time.
Oh my God, really?
But I think we all watch the same media. We all watch the same movies. The zeitgeist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Touch of Evil, Witch of Silence, and Arkham Horror. It's all the same thing. Right now, it's all nature themes. This year is all nature themes.
That's true.
So 1 year it was all horror. 1 year it was all space games.
Well, when you talk about the Arkham series, H.P. Lovecraft's works have become public domain. Right. So now everybody says, well, I mean, there's a lot of H.P. Lovecraft games, a lot of Cthulhu games. I can make my own. I can use that, and they're allowed to use it.
And they all sell.
And they all sell. Yeah, they sell.
And then 1 year it was all Vikings.
I was a fan of that year.
Yeah, I love Viking games.
Maybe we'll do a Viking version.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at Viking games right now that I want to play. But this is basically the same game. But it says right here, 180 minutes. That's 3 hours. If you know anything about board games, you know that lies. So that probably means about 4 hours.
That's an estimate.
I've heard people say that this is a 6 hour game. I haven't played this one yet.
This is a beefy box.
Yes. So I didn't punch it out. Rule book. You know you're in for a long time when you got
Oh wow.
the Chronicle. So what it is it. I loved it. This is a new thing. The board is a book, and so right now the game is set up.
Let's hold that up.
The game is set up right there, and then these are all the tokens that you could you could win
Let's
to
see the books
modify.
there, John. Yeah. So I went to Gen Con 24, and there was a gentleman selling a Dungeons and Dragons map book, and every page was a different map.
Yep.
Right. So it looks like we're doing the same thing here, right? Every page is a different. Oh, we're going this way here.
Right.
Every page is a different map. Oh, so it's not double. So it's one or the other.
Correct.
So this is one map, and then this is one map here.
And the reason why they could do this is every player has these player boards, and I don't know if you can see, but
I'm gonna do a close up of the player boards
double
in a second.
thickness. So you all go onto the map.
This is some quality.
Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to show this.
A quality player.
And then
board.
this snaps together. This just keeps track of like where all the cards and score pieces go.
So this is another piece of the player map. Oh, this is the same one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, each one
has their own.
one of these.
So we have here sections. I assume some sort of equipment, probably, right? And then we have these different trackers.
Yep.
Looks like a little dice will fit in there.
And then miniatures. And then I have to show this. So it comes with me. That's why I got this instead of Abomination. But then you got these wooden pieces that are already stickered if you want to show those. Now this is the piece de resistance that I have to show.
All right, slow down. Let's talk about miniatures for a second. So actually, let's talk about game board. All right, all right. So we have. I'm gonna show you the stamp this. So this is the map book. First, we're talking about. So each page of the book is a map for the different scenarios. So we used to have some tile games where you put the different tiles in different order. I guess with this one, you'd be able to go through the book.
Correct.
Okay.
And then these are the player boards.
So these are the player boards, and they are nice quality, thick, colorful cardboard, double thickness.
So you could put cards in these slots. You could put the different pegs in little cubes in these spots, and then you could. Like other pieces will snap onto here depending upon how far you are on your progress.
I like that. It feels like it's well thought out.
Oh, it's so good. And then this is the main board. You just put this together, but all that does is you put cards on it, and it keeps the score track on it. So you assemble that, put it in the middle, but your main focus is this. And then you're looking at that map because that's where you go to get the resources. And speaking of the resource, well, look at the miniatures.
Yeah. So in the game I was talking about, Abomination, there's not really miniatures. But this game, they have a ton of miniatures, and some people will collect the game just for the miniatures. I mean, you could use this in role-playing games.
Right, and these are pre-washed. Look at these. See, I don't need to paint these now because I hate painting.
And honestly, if you wanted to paint them, you could probably just use a little thin coat of paint, maybe a speed paint.
And the tokens already have stickers on them, or they call it. There's a process, but I forget.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm just doing a close-up here of the Frankenstein one, and. Away. I'm just doing a close up of the Frankenstein one and the skeleton. And I mean, oh, damn it, not Siri. Shut up, Siri.
I do that. I'm recording. Next thing you know, somebody calls me.
No, I hit the button. So I'm doing a close up of these tokens here, and they just seem to be like super quality, nice looking tokens. And then again, the miniatures are just amazing. Let me pull that out. And then we have what?
And then this is the deluxe version. I got to show this.
Oh, wow.
So this is...
Slide it over, John.
Oh, okay.
Okay, perfect.
So this is the reason why I got the deluxe version. I'm a sucker for miniatures. I'm a sucker for theme. So you got metal coins, jars to store your unholy ointments, the cubes that you put in those things, little coffins representing the... And then these actual copper gears. As you need to build an apparatus to make an unholy horror. So I just love this.
Yeah, it seems like super nice quality.
I don't know what the wooden frog does, but I haven't played yet, so I can't wait to find out.
Is this the Frog Company or what company?
No, this is Renegade
Games.
Yeah, but I mean, just look at these. And then some people go all nuts and they fill these with like colored sands to represent the different fluids.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. That's the way to do it. That's awesome.
But the thing about this game in general is the theme is you're not Frankenstein. He's like your father or grandfather. So Roy, you're like a cousin or a nephew or something like that. So like we're removed, but we still have the same, and we're carrying on our father's work.
Yeah. Oh, that's the father's work.
And then you could age and die in the game
Oh,
because
really?
it takes you 30, 40 years to do this.
Yeah, you're not making a Frankenstein's monster overnight.
Correct. Yeah. So it is
Or a flesh golem.
a flesh golem. Yeah.
4-3. So that leads into
one of the greatest productions of all time. This is Final Girl. I consider the best for last.
yes.
Have you played this?
I have not had the chance to play it.
This is a solo only game.
I saw Final Girl at Gen Con. I saw some of the new expansions that they have out, but they already have a bunch of I mean just looking at the back, we have what, 10, 20 right here.
Right. So I'll talk about this for a second, then I'll open up the boxes and show you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you guys know about horror movies, but it's just like the trope, the last girl that survives. She's called the final girl. So you are the final girl. You're the main character in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it started out like 80s slasher movies. So like Jason's going to kill you, and they call him Hans because it's legally distinct from Jason. So Hans, you're at Camp Happy Trails, and Hans is killing everybody.
Yeah.
And Hans gets more powerful the more he kills. And the only way to win is to defeat the creature, the monster.
Let me interrupt right there. So I'm looking at the back. Hans is one of the first scenarios.
Correct. So these are all the series.
Series 1, Hans is one of the first scenarios.
And Series 3 should be getting mailed to me any minute now. So I'm going to open up this box to show you how freaking cool this is. So these are all, okay.
So you can talk to them, but I'm just going to hold the camera here.
So these are all, drawings of all the different final girls, and these are all the final monsters. Now check this out. If you guys are casually into board games, this might actually blow you away.
We're actually videoing this last, but I might put this first to really.
So here you go. You got to show this. So this is a VCR box. So this looks like a VCR, and these are supposed to be VHS tapes. How freaking cool is that? So this you need for every game. So this, you open this up. This is
so the VCR player is the basic box you need for every game. It has your map. Your play area.
So these are the play areas. Okay. So this is. I'm a nut job that needs it. So this is the board to play, and then this is the core box. So these two boxes you open up and you play any side. I'm afraid of opening up and everything's going to spill out. But okay, there we go. So then you put all your like this is if you don't have the player mat, because if you could buy all this separately, I buy it all in one.
No, I say I'm a big fan of the neoprene player mats. I think they really add a lot to the game.
So then, like, these are all the pieces. The yellow are the victims. These are all the tokens. And these are the big chunky dice, the hearts. These are little plastic tokens that represent the hit points of you and the creature.
So you pull out the neoprene mat or this box here, and then you have all your dice and tokens.
Right. So right now I would put these down, and it's a basic setup. And then here's the cool thing: is okay. Happy Trails Horror. So then I take out Happy Trails Horror,
almost like you were picking your movie for the night.
Correct. And that's on purpose. And then I take this out. Here you go. Here's the location.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And then here is Hans. There you go. I'm ready to play.
All right. So wow.
All you do is you read the little rules. They come with a deck of cards. You shuffle in the deck of cards, the terror deck. Okay, so this is the neoprene mat. You need this to play, and then you need this deck of cards, and you put the cards here. This is so easy to set up, so easy to put away. And you need these for every play. And then there's the basic cards. I'm kind of mixing them up now because I'm doing it fast. But there's basic cards that you have constantly in your hand. You see they have little zeros on your hand. So these are, and some of these are doubles. You put them over here.
Okay.
So on your turn, you roll it up as I knock everything over. This piece is over here, the horror track, and it tells you how much time you have. So the more freaked out you are, the less time you have. You have to be efficient. That is like the resources of this game is the time. And then you roll the dice. Right now, if I'm calm, I get to roll 2 dice. and 2 stars. So anything I do would be successful. So if I played this card, I got 2 stars.
Okay.
So then I I could. So on my turn, I play a card, and it tells me close call. This costs 1 time, so I'd go like that, and then I could do the rules on this card.
Okay.
And then I put all the cards that I played in the action, and I can't pick them up. So there's a cooldown.
Yep.
But here's the cool part. So I want to play this. So like Roy said, it's like a VHS.
You're pulling out a VHS tape, and that's your movie for tonight.
So this is the movie tonight. So this is Final Girl. What we're gonna do is it tells us Hans the Butcher at Camp Happy Trails.
Okay.
Now, if I want to, you can see I didn't play this. I could take Hans the Butcher and put him in
a different location.
Yeah, the Haunting of Creech Manor.
Oh, okay.
So it's modular. You change it. But look at this. So I open up this box.
Yep.
And now I got the location. So that's
so we have the Happy Trails, Camp Happy Trails.
Yeah, so that's Camp Crystal Lake, legally distinct.
Crystal Lake.
And that's Hans, legally distinct from Jason. And this tells me the rules of Jason.
I think Hans is scarier.
Yeah. And then Hans comes with a deck for him. And then Camp Happy Trails comes... Oh, I dropped it. It comes with a deck for the location, and you just shuffle them together.
Gotcha.
And now you're ready to play.
So what's unique about Final Girl is this is one of the true, really well done one-player games.
Yes, it's solo only.
Solo only, okay.
So it's solo only, and I tell you, you think as long as you're not one of these people that cheat at solitaire games, this is tense. You're gonna lose 8 times out of 10, which is good because if you could beat it right away, it's not fun. And you go around and you move your piece around on the board, like make out points or the cabins, and you see these 2 orange spaces, or the 3 orange spaces.
Yeah.
Up here, there's 3 places where you can get items. These are set up. These are cards that you randomly flip them over, and it tells you how to set up the board. So that could be different every turn. And then you do your turn. You play all your cards.
Okay.
And then you flip over the terror deck, and it tells you something that Hans does, and then Hans always, that tells you how Hans moves, and then usually it'll give you a special, like, hindrance, like you fell, and like, oh man, now I got to deal with it. I can't play these particular cards, or it tells you somebody panicked and now they're in the lake, and if you want to save them, you got to jump in the lake and save them. And the way you win is you kill Hans, but the more people you rescue, it unlocks special cards for you.
Okay.
So I rescue the cop. Now he hands you a gun.
Yeah.
Or I rescue my little brother,
so
and now my morale goes way up.
So there's some non-playing characters that you can rescue within the game. You can find equipment. You can take these actions. So I guess you can do a fury strike against Hans.
Correct.
Or you can actually take a long rest or search for equipment.
Correct. You could do a weak attack, costs you 0 time.
Yeah.
So I could do a weak attack and then follow it up with a furious attack. So that would be 5 time. But once I get down to 0 time, my turn is over.
Okay.
You know, and the more scared, and then this resets every turn. But the more scared I am.
What is that miniature there?
It's a little skull with the knife.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a chicken for a minute.
No. The more scared I am, the lower this goes. If I'm green, I'm fine. Yeah. So you want to play
and green you're rolling 3 dice, white you're rolling 2, and red you're rolling 1.
Like I play focus. So I play focus, and I'm right over here, so I get 2 dice. So I'm focusing right now. Okay, I rolled 1 star. Okay, so 1 star allows me to push the horror back 1. But so actually this is a horror, and then there's another piece which keeps track of the time. So this is actually I can't get this out, but so the time starts here. So I start with 6 time, and this is the horror. So this would allow me to move the horror back 1, but at a cost of 1 time. And whenever the time gets to 0, it's the end of my turn. Gotcha. So it's time management.
And when it gets to 0, then Hans is going to act.
Yeah, when it gets to 0, then I activate Hans.
Gotcha.
And I'll just put this miniature here. But as Hans gets more and more powerful, so it starts out, he does 2 damage with an attack, and he moves once. But he does it in that order. So he attacks first, then he moves. So if you're 1 space away, you're safe. But then over here, he does, when every time the horror goes up, I gotta move it up. So every time he kills, rather, it goes up. So when he kills. So over here he does 3 damage and then he moves 2, and up here he does 5 damage and he moves 3. So he's just plow, and he stops. Like if he moves 3, but he'll go to the closest victim.
Yep.
You know, so
and this is a little camp.
Right.
Camp Happy
and if there's a
Trails
tie,
map.
you roll these little numbers. So there's no questions about anything. Everything is so intuitive. And then there'll be other cards that'll be like, Hans is ignoring the victims. He's coming after you.
Oh wow.
You know, and that's like the scariest card. You're like, oh, you know, and he's going to move 5. And then they'll say he'll come after you. He'll move double his maximum movement and then attack.
Yeah.
That's like one of the worst cards. You're like, oh my God. And then sometimes you just like, I just got to jump in the lake.
So once in a while on a rainy day, you're down here in the game room just screaming because Hans is hunting you down.
Yeah. All right. And then there's a whole other season. This season is more 80s slasher. So
yeah, let's take a look at those. Let's
okay. So these
so we have the Poltergeist version. There's a nice ghost in Greech Manor. I kind of like that one.
Yeah. So this is Poltergeist.
All right. We have the next one. Looks like we have
Geppetto. So this
Geppetto. Oh, like that's a
why can't I think of the
puppet?
Yeah,
Pinocchio, evil Pinocchio.
Yeah, it's an evil Pinocchio from not Trauma Films, but why can't I think of it? But
the Carnage at the Carnival. So this is
the Geppetto at the Carnival.
So it's damn carnies again. We talked about, right?
But you could have Hans at the Carnival. You could have Geppetto at Camp Happy Trails.
I don't know if I want Hans at the Carnival. That's too scary.
That is.
This one here we have Ikeyaba. Oh, this is like a Japanese spirit.
No, this is African.
Oh, African. Slaughter in the Groves.
Yeah, so this is set in Africa. This is like an African urban myth. Or
Ikeyamba, the Avenger.
Right.
Okay.
And also, every final girl has her own piece of equipment card, so they're all a little bit different.
So I'm actually looking at let me look at Maple Lane here, for example. I'm looking at Maple Lane, and this is.
Can you guess what this is? This is Dr. Fright at Maple Lane.
Dr. Fright at Maple Lane. But this actually. So let me hold this up here. Dr. Fright at Maple Lane. So it's like Freddy Krueger, right?
Yeah, this is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh my God, this one is so freaking scary.
Does it say the name of the girl on the box, or just is each girl have their own name?
Yeah, each girl has their own name. If you buy the box, you get these cast and crew. It actually, because it's just a pawn. But if you buy this box, you get individual miniatures.
Oh, you get the actual miniatures.
And then there's one scenario with the birds, like it's Hitchcock's The Birds, and you get these little bird miniatures.
Let me just slide this over right here. And so once again, John, you bought the upgrade box.
Yeah, I get they crowdfund, and you could get an entire season in the box. To me, that's the only way to get it. So if you play Hans, you get Laurie's bow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, each girl has her own special card. You know, there's equipment cards.
Yeah.
Now, an optional rule is you could start with your equipment card to make it a little bit easier. I always do everything on as difficult possible. That's why I lose 8 out of 10 times. But
I like the idea. I mean, if you're playing solo, don't be afraid to start with the equipment. I feel like that might be appropriate. You know, maybe Laurie's at Camp Happy Trails, and she was at the archery range, right? And she's the archery instructor.
But this is actually terrifying. So this is how you control what's his name?
Hans?
Dr. Fright. It's actually on the other side. But Dr. Fright, whenever you go, you could willingly decide to go into the dream world.
Oh, Dr. Fright has his own little dream world.
Because you can't fight him when he's physical.
Okay.
Until the end of the game when he manifests. And then you could fight. But by that point...
Just like real life.
But by that point, he's super powerful. So you could decide to go into the dream world and fight him. And then you could do damage. But there's a deck of cards. And it tells you how many cards you have to move. And you decide which way you're going to move them. And if you see his face, you get attacked.
Oh, wow.
And you move, and you're actually getting scared as you're moving the cards. And then once you get attacked, you have to shuffle the cards. So
have you found any other really good or anything done this well as one-player games?
Well, that I haven't played that My Father's Work, but I just love the pieces.
Was My Father's Work one-player?
No, I was gonna say as one player. Oh, have I found any other solo games?
Solo games. Yeah.
No, this is by far the best.
Yeah.
Most games have a solo mode, but this is solo only.
Well, this was designed to be solo.
Correct. It was originally a game called Hostage Negotiator.
Okay.
And then they reskinned it into this. And,
oh, for real?
Yeah. And this just sings as Final Girl. Everybody likes horror movies.
I think the big part of it is the fact that you have all these different scenarios.
Right.
And even without mixing, it looks like you have 10 or 20 scenarios even without mixing.
Right.
And then season 1.
And then season 2 has more like sci-fi and classic horror. So I'll have to clean this up later, but we can see this.
Yeah, we'll clean it up. I'll help you.
So you can see all of this. So you got like Outpost at 418. That's the thing, you know. So again, there's a neoprene mat, and I think it's a little different. I haven't even opened up.
Roll this up here. So season 1 box and season 2 box. Season 2 comes with everything you need.
Right. You don't need if you buy just season 2, you don't need season 1 because it comes with its own neoprene mat. It comes with everything.
And at Gen Con, I saw you can buy these individually.
Correct. But these you need
the base game still.
You need the Final Girl first module to play that.
Yeah.
So this is an updated. I think there's different spaces for season 2. I like I said, I kickstarted season 3. I didn't get it yet. But this is Evo Morph, which is Alien. You can see it's Alien. This is the base box that you need to play. This is Intruder. This is Predator. The Organism. This is John Carter's.
Let's take a step back.
Okay.
We'll put it this way.
And you'll hold it.
I'll video this way, and then you can.
How about that?
Right there. 1 second. I am definitely recording. Go for it.
Okay, so this is season 2. Season 1 basically does the 80s slasher films. This expands on that. So this is the this box that looks like the classic. Actually, I just realized that this is a DVD player. So it's okay. So that's a VHS. Yeah. Good touch. I didn't know. This is the box of props. So this is extra miniatures that you can only get if you get the whole box.
Gotcha.
So this is otherwise you're playing with wooden pawns. But this is Into the Void with the Evomorph. So this is Alien. This is Panic at Station 2891 with the Organism. This is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yep.
Knock at the Door with the Intruders. This is Predator. Once Upon a Full Moon. This is a werewolf story. Madness in the Dark with the Ratchet Lady. So I guess this is like Lovecraftian horror, Mm-hmm. And then this is the Cast and Crew. This is extra pieces. It's instead of a little. Sometimes they'll have little yellow points for the NPCs. This will actually give you miniatures for the NPCs. And bonus features is just extra stuff as a reward for kickstarting it.
Okay.
And I'm a lunatic, so I got to get all of it. Season 3 should be here any day now. And again, just like season 1, I could take out the Final Girl, I could take out the map, and I could take out the monsters and mix and match with everything.
Just thinking about it, if you wanted to sit down and put it in front of you and have somebody like me sitting next to you, or your wife, your girlfriend, or another player, you could play it as a 2-player game.
I have played it as a 2-player game.
You sit down. It's almost like you're both going through. I mean, just taking this here. Maple Lane, right? You sit down, you set everything up, you sit nice and close to each other, you get a cup of coffee, and then it's almost like you're watching the story unfold, right? And you make the decisions together. Hey, do you think we should go here? No, let's do this. Take turns rolling the dice.
One day, Adam came over. Our mutual friend Adam came over, and I said, we're playing a solo-only game. And I just taught him how to play, and I just sat here and watched him play. I was completely enthralled. And we were like, ah!
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a good horror game. So yeah, this is definitely something at least I want to add.
Not only is this my favorite horror game, but it's one of my favorite games. And,
really?
And I never thought, because I like people, I like playing games for. I mean, if you're not going to play with people, then read a book.
A big part of board games is the social interaction, especially
trash talking and
of course, all that stuff. But on a rainy day, nobody's available, or you're homesick and you want to have some entertainment. You sit down with your Final Girl,
right? And it tells you a story.
Yes.
Like I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but when that's why I like themes in games.
Yeah. Because
afterwards I'll be like, oh, well, we were in Zombicide. Roy was stuck in the mall,
yeah.
and we didn't have any weapons, and the zombies were. I'm not thinking of board games and dice, I'm telling it and remembering it like a movie.
Yeah.
And this game, an hour after you play, you're like, oh, that was so scary. I had to jump into the water to escape from Hans.
Yeah.
And then, he luckily got distracted by an NPC who wandered by, because there's a card that flips over and it says, like, a guy wanders in, so you got to pick one of the, and like you're sacrificing a port, and you're like, oh, I feel so bad, but I'm alive.
Yeah.
And you remember that, and then you think of it as a movie, like this was a script for a movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
You get to live the movie. So
yeah.
So that's our review of the best horror board games, favorite horror board games for October. It's stuff that you can still collect. Some stuff is out of print. Like I said, I might put Final Girl first in this because I think this is the most interesting. I'm a big fan of the other ones, but let us know what you think in the comments down below. If you're watching this on John's channel, follow me at Dark Alchemy Ltd. That's Dark Alchemy Limited on YouTube. If you're on my channel, follow John at
John's Long Box.
All right, and he also talks about comics and does amazing interviews with famous comic writers and authors who just keep coming on your program. I find it so fascinating. Right? Yeah. You're a great interviewer, and you're talking with leaders of the gaming and comic industry. It's amazing.
I'm amazed that they want to talk.
Yeah.
But and also go to Indiegogo or Fund My Comic and check out Heroic Tales. It's my comic book that's going to print any day now.
That's awesome. I got the notification on Kickstarter. Well, I backed you on both Kickstarter and Indiegogo because I wanted the 2 alternative covers. And I've been following your journey, and I'm looking forward to reading the adventure.
Talking with the guy who's sending it to the printer today.
Awesome.
So depending upon the printer, it could be in our hands in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe, by the end of October.
Maybe it'll be a Halloween miracle.
Yeah, even though it has nothing to do with horror. Or
nothing.
It's superheroes,
total superhero comics. But it'd be nice to get the comic in the hand, and we can start on the second one. So, all right, thank you for watching. Keep gaming.